Today on the show, we're going to be talking about one of my all-time favorite authors, Stephen King. So I've never really talked about books on the show. I talk about comics, and I talk about movies, but I do read novels. I enjoy reading a whole lot. And today I want to talk about one of my favorite authors, Stephen King. I've been a lifelong fan. I'm pretty sure it started in the womb when my mom was reading his books while I was in utero, and then I popped out, and then I learned how to read, and I started reading Stephen King books, and here I am today.
Stephen King, huh?
Yeah.
Never heard of him. What's he written? What's he written? He's written like over 50 books, okay? This guy is so insane. He's so prolific, and so many of them are just totally amazing, okay? He is a big deal robot, so whatever. Yeah, well, I'll decide for myself.
Well, if you do want to decide for yourself, I do have a couple of recommendations for you. I highly recommend reading Stephen King's It. I feel like is the craziest, scariest one. I also really love The Shining. It is just so good. I've read it multiple times. So is Salem's Lot. Salem's Lot is just so great. I've never seen a good adaptation of it on film yet, and I wish they would because it's such a good book. Then you have the Dark Tower series, which is one of my favorite ones, but that's only for people who like weird stuff. It's not for everybody, because it's like a really big series. If you're into fantasy, weird, metaphysical, time, cowboys, I don't know, it's a whole thing. And also Insomnia, I also really like Insomnia, just mainly because the main characters are old people, and you never see old people as main characters, and they're so cute. So I really enjoyed that one as well. It also has a lot of Dark Tower references within there, so, whatever. It's a whole thing. Stephen King has an entire fictional universe, if you weren't aware, and it's pretty great. I love fictional universes. I have a penchant for them, obviously, so I enjoy any writer who has a really super weird, giant fictional universe going on. And I'd like to give a little shout out to Stephen King's short stories. Not only are his novels really great, his short stories I feel like are almost even better. I really enjoy them, so definitely check out his collections. The short story 1408 is one of my favorites, and the movie adaptation really isn't as good. And also, I really been thinking a lot about his short story, The Jaunt, so definitely check those out. Any of his short story collections, you can't go wrong.
So why are we talking about Stephen King and books today?
Well, I'm bringing Stephen King up because I recently just finished listening to his audiobook version of Dr. Sleep. And it was so phenomenal. It was so good that I felt the need to make a video about it just to tell you guys how great it is.
What's it about?
Well, Robot, Dr. Sleep is the sequel to The Shining, and it's all about Danny Torrance, all grown up. It's so amazing. It was so much fun to be back with these characters that you know and love. Even Dick Hallorann makes an appearance. Wendy's there, and even some of the ghosts from the Overlook show up. It's just, if you're a fan of The Shining, you'll definitely enjoy this a whole lot. But be warned, you need to have read the book, not just seen the movie, before you get into Dr. Sleep, because there are key differences between the book and the movie. And you need to know those things so you won't be confused. My favorite things about Stephen King. What I love about his writing is how he seamlessly blends the mundane with the fantastic. For example, in Dr. Sleep, the way he talks about psychic abilities and how they're used and things like that, it seems so real that it's like, it makes me wonder whether he has psychic abilities, Like, it's just like, yeah, this is so, like, it just makes so much sense the way he says it. It's just...
Weirdo alert over here.
Sorry, I'm fangirling a little, okay? Give me a break.
Well, it's not becoming. It is not becoming.
And the other thing that I love about Stephen King is how I learned so much about being a human from reading his books. For example, in Dr. Sleep, I really found myself relating to Dan and Abra a whole lot, and it just helped me to understand myself in more meaningful ways. So Stephen King definitely has a lot of philosophical things in his books. He just asks a lot of questions about life, and, I think we can all relate to that. So back to Dr. Sleep. While Dan Torrance is struggling with the same raging alcoholism that consumed his father, a little girl named Abra is born, and she is like a shining powerhouse, okay? If Dan is a flashlight, Abra is a lighthouse. Meanwhile, you have this roving band of psychic cannibals in RVs called the True Knot. And they feed off of children who have the Shining. And they call it taking their steam. So when they get a ping on Abra, who's like the steam motherlode, they want to get her all to themselves. So that's the setup, and as I said, it's quite a page turner. And this book was extremely satisfying. There was a lot of fun character arcs. There was a lot of action and excitement and like fun psychic battles that were just like, holy crap, that's so cool. So yeah, if you're into like weird psychic stuff and you want to learn more about like advanced Shining use, then this is the one for you.
You know, whatever. If a book was any good, it would have already been a movie and I would have already seen it, so.
You do realize that Stephen King is one of the most adapted to film authors, like since the 70s. They've been adapting his works like every year. There's a new one.
Yeah, well, is Dr. Sleep a movie?
Not yet.
Then it's not good enough, obviously.
Such a jerkums. After finishing Dr. Sleep, I got really interested in the man himself, and I wanted to learn more about Stephen King. So I downloaded On Writing, his book, which serves as a part memoir as his experiences as a writer, and part guidebook for those who want to enter the craft. And this book is very fascinating, very educational. I feel like a lot of the lessons that he talks about can be applied to more than just writing. It can be applied to just about any creative field. And it's really fun to hear him talk about his life experiences, like where he gets the ideas for his stories. For example, he talks about how his mother used to work in the industrial laundromat and she used to feed sheets into the mangler. And so that's where he got the idea for the mangler, which is so interesting. And it's also really interesting to hear Stephen King talk about his struggles with addiction. And it makes you appreciate things like in Dr. Sleep, where you have Dan Torrance, who is having, some problems with addiction. And you know that when he's writing this, he's writing it from genuine experience. Like, it feels completely real because he actually went through this and he's putting one of his characters through this. And so it just really makes the connection, I think, far more complex and interesting. So yeah, I feel the need to announce to everyone out there, everyone who's listening, that Stephen King is a national fucking treasure, and his son, Joe Hill, is a chip off the old block, okay? He's got tons of amazing stuff coming out. He's got short stories, comic books, novels, and the most exciting thing of all is that now you have Stephen King and Joe Hill, and they're blending their universes together, okay? So in Joe Hill's book, Nosferatu, he makes references to things in Stephen King's universe, such as like the Pennywise circus and things like that from It. Now in Dr. Sleep, Stephen King makes a mention of Charlie Manx and his Wraith, who was the main bad guy in Joe Hill's Nosferatu. So it's like the universe is expanding even more now, and I'm just so excited about it. And the thing that I also love about Joe Hill is that he started writing under a pen name because he didn't want to make it like just because he was his father's son. So he went to make it on his own, and he totally did, because like that guy can write, okay? Seriously. So I highly recommend picking up Dr. Sleep if you are looking for a new novel to check out. Also, listening to the audiobook, I really liked the narrator. It was a guy named Will Patton, and he did the best voices. Oh my gosh, he had like a great voice for everybody. So he was an amazing storyteller. And also, Stephen King has 2 books coming up this year, Mr. Mercedes and Revival. I'm really excited about both of them. Revival, though, sounds like my kind of shit, because it's got some weird Heartland stuff, and I'm from the South, and I know all about that, so I'm looking forward to it. So that's it for today. Thanks for watching. Be sure to like this video, subscribe to my channel, and follow me on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and Tumblr. And if you like my shirt, I got it from tfury.com. It's pretty cool. It's like Kool-Aid Man mixed with Lovecraft. So it's perfect for me. So if I've gotten through to anyone out there and you want to start your very own Stephen King adventure, you can go on audible.com right now and download 1 free audiobook. You can get Dr. Sleep, The Shining, On Writing, whatever. Just use the promo code comicbookgirl19 to get your free audiobook.
Wait, free?
Yeah. Fun fact, a lot of people ask me about 19 and my name. Where does the 19 come from? Are you 19 years old? Absolutely not. If you think I'm 19, you're out of your mind. But I would like to share with you now where the 19 comes from. It comes from Stephen King's The Dark Tower series. I love the Dark Tower series, and 19 in Stephen King's universe is the number of Ka, like the number of destiny. It's this whole thing. It's like, it's a fate number. So that's why I use it. It's part of the reason why I use it. So now you know. So Stephen King is a part of the comic book world. Like, Stephen King has influenced
the whole time?
Yes.
The whole time?
Yes, Stephen King is such an influence on me that his special number is in my name because I love him so much and his books. You gonna read it?
Never mind.
I love you, Stephen King.
I refuse to read, and you can't make me.
Okay, you're right.